में अब
दोनों ग्रुप में चल जा रही है।
ठीक है, चलो हेलो yeah
Okay.
are we
So
waiting for more people to join us?
we'll be waiting for 2 minutes.
No worries,
And
it's okay. Meanwhile, I just connect with my team and do some work also.
okay, fine. We will be starting the session by 7:15. Till then, we'll wait other attendees to come.
Sure. So just till the time, by the time they are joining, just to like have a let's get to know each other. Meanwhile, let's spend some time. So like, are you guys part of like IT? Is what I understand from Guwahati, right? So are you a little brief about how these people are, where they're coming from, backgrounds and stuff? If you can help us.
Okay, so let me start. Okay, so good evening, everyone. On behalf of CSI IIT Guwahati, we are delighted to welcome you all to the first session of Campus Startup Initiative. CSI is structured full year sprint designed for student founders of IIT Guwahati. A series of 10 sessions have been planned throughout the year to support the journey of our startups, bringing in industry experts to help accelerate their startup building process. Today, we have Mr. Udit Sharma, an agentic AI and AI workflows expert. He is currently the co-founder of DDL Labs, which designs, builds, and deploys customized autonomous and agentic AI workforces for companies. Given his area of expertise, the topic of today's session is the AI-powered lean team, automating workflows. This session will cover how, with the use of proper AI tools, a team of three can bring the same productivity to the table that once required 20. So, without creating further delays, I would like to call Mr. Udit sir to share his thoughts over this topic.
Yeah, so I also have Vignesh with me. We both are like, he's also co-founder of DDL Labs, and so just to give you a little brief about like how we are structured, we automate business processes using AI. Vignesh takes care of the technical bits. I take care of the business bits. Obviously, there are a lot of depth into that, but I'm not getting into the depth, or else that's how we are placed. Vignesh is an engineer. I am an MBA, so that's how we are combined. So we are taking forward. We pretty much started very early into the AI industry. We are the early adopters, you can say. And once I think now we'll show you the demo in quite some time, and we'll get into the depth of the AI. Meanwhile, I'll also request Vignesh to add some points from his end, and then we can go on to the webinar front.
All right. So hi guys. This is Vignesh, and like Udit said, we basically started off around 2 years ago as a company, and like I've known Udit for like around 30 years. And what we ended up doing was, for a while, we had been planning to do something in this space. However, we were more closely related to other topics of STEM. But when AI started picking up, I started implementing a couple of applications, and Udit was also experimenting on the same idea, and that's how we started DDL Labs. And I mean, as a company, what we've been doing for the last few years is practically helping businesses adopt AI, and we're going to talk a lot about that in depth today. But we've had a few learnings ourselves while trying to do this, and
Yeah.
I think those are the most important takeaways we'll be having today. Yeah.
So, like, just to with corporate webinars and everything, that's quite different. But you guys being student, coming from a community of startups within the college itself, so you guys are doing great. You're lucky to have that opportunity. So meanwhile, we'll get into again the AI demonstration. But the good part is utilize your space, adapt AI, and it's the buzzword. It's the need of the industry as well. So utilize your opportunity, utilize your space, utilize your moment. And yeah, so now just to give you a few more learning, because let's another, like you said, Hans will start at 7:15, so I'm trying to just do my ice breaking meanwhile, so that we can help other people to join in the meantime. So I started, we was just part of NASCOM after I did my MBA, and from there it was like what we started. India AI was a part of initiative by Ministry of Electronics. So while we were doing India AI, I pretty much understood that there is a market that is coming up in the future. So at that point of time, again, I was too young, like pretty much of like 24, 25 at that age. And when like I could visualize it, but I did not know that your market may impact, at what time it will impact the market, right? So we had that thought. Similar with Vignesh. Vignesh started his own journey with his startup. He started a Petpedia, which was like e-com platform around selling pet products. Again, the visualization and the vision came very early that okay, the pet industry will grow. So whatever you say, and then the market matures after a certain point of time. So you guys are also must be in your head, in your mind, must be visualizing something that this is the change that is happening, the industry that is working on, right? So again, as a young entrepreneurs or part of startup incubations or startup programs or willingness to do entrepreneurship in your head, if you are seeing a trend, I would rather suggest that stick to it, go forward with that. And in the coming period of time now, when you are right now thinking that the it's not there in front of you, but over the period of time it will mature. And when the market will mature, then you will realize, oh, I started this and I did not completed it. If I would have completed it, I would have been somewhere else. So go with your analysis, go with your trend, read more about from the market, read a lot about like real insights from very good institutions like IIT itself, IIM, Stanford. Follow the trend with those kind of sources, and then take a decision. So meanwhile, like we have hit 7:16, so now we'll start with the real use cases and stuff. So I'll just share my screen. uh, I hope my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Cool. So overall, with this webinar, our purpose would be to solve to bridge the gap between AI and human interactions. I'm sure you guys are from IIT, so you must be aware of how AI is in terms of technically transforming businesses. But in today's use case, in today's webinar, we'll try to show you more real life use cases in terms of corporate, how corporates are adapting AI, what kind of AI adoption is happening from a business process. There can be a lot of other AIs like physical AI, and there are models, technical AI and stuff, but we will mostly focus on business applications. So moving forward, today we'll cover how AI for workplace, then what is agentic AI systems, and then like I have shared, today we'll try to cover more on the application front from a business processes rather than getting into the technical depth, right? Uh, to all entrepreneurs who are here, I would say ki you must have heard the myth that in the world of AI you can build a startup in 10 minutes. All these webinars and all these YouTube ads you must have been seeing, learn AI from us and build a startup, get a website done, use Canva and all. But startup is a not about those things. Startup is about, even after like our previous experience over the last 7 years into the industry and 7 years of entrepreneurship, we have realized that every business has three battles. One is building the right product, commercializing it successfully, and once you have commercialized it also, the focus should be on sustainability, right? So no matter what else the business and other worlds are saying, ekdam matlab, if we are coming from India, and India is a very price sensitive market, and very like doing business is not simple here as compared to the rest of the world, right? Everyone knock on the other door, there's someone or the other who is either a chartered accountant or an engineer, and now someone else is an entrepreneur. So every three doors you will find these three set of people only, right? So in today's world, to sustain your business, let's, instead of cut down on the noises that you are hearing across social media, YouTube ads, all these mentors coming up and saying, like ye kar lo, wo kar lo, aisa padhai kar lo, come join us and learn a program and become an entrepreneur. All these are secondary, all these are noises. I'm not saying that those are not worthy. Everyone has their own thoughts, but the focus should be on the three main points: building the right product, commercializing it successfully, and running it sustainably, right? So this has been both of our journey, like I said, with me doing Young Minds and with Vignesh doing Petpedia. We both have done that. We have failed in our previous startups, and then we have initiated this. So we came to this conclusion. Now, again, in today's world, when previously when we were doing our event businesses, we both realized that we did not have the privilege of AI, honestly, right? So we had to do everything manually. But now with AI coming into the picture, we are able to move faster. This time we are more successful as a business or as an entrepreneur. Reason being that we are able to build it faster, smarter, and leaner. Our team are lean, our team are smart, and we are able to say whatever, because technology is moving fast. We have to cope up with the technology, right? Today we are learning about new thing, next day Mythos comes in, next then Opus comes in, new models of Opus comes in. Every day there is a new technological advancements. To cope up with that, AI is really helpful, and it is helping companies to do these three aspects, right? So this is the core reason I'm talking most corely, that these are the core reason why AI matters for a business. Further, I hope if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt and ask any thoughts if you have. Uh, so yeah, these were more on the our previous experience and why business and AI matters. I will now startly slowly getting into the depth of AI. That where because I mentioned in this very initially start of this event that in today's world we are in India and India is very tough to crack. Reason being that there's entrepreneurs and businesses in every street right now, right? So for market like this, what are the value proposition? How can we economically keep our business sustainable, or what kind of solution should we provide so that businesses are able to adapt AI, right? So for a value proposition for any team to adapt AI is that either AI should reduce the turnaround time of a company. For example, if I am doing a task A, or say I am supposed to convert or reach to a customer A, which used to take me 3 days, for example, now with AI, I can reduce that turnaround time to probably an hour, right? So these kind of time reduction is where AI comes really helpful. Then comes increase in revenue. Anything that you are spending, think about ek baar ke liye forget about everything else. Think yourself as an individual. You would only invest money to somewhere jahan pe you are getting an return on investments, right? So if AI, if a company now come like from a company perspective, that if a company is investing certain amount of money, it expects a certain amount of return on investment in form of revenue as well, right? So say if I am doing social media and if I am including AI, or if I am doing marketing, or if I am doing operation or any kind of an AI automations, it needs to help the company to increase revenue. So this would be your second value proposition for AI, right? Third value proposition would be boost conversions. So for example, in today's world, we'll come to the real life use cases as well. But say I am supposed to reach out to Hans. Say Hans is a surgeon and Vignesh is a orthopedist, for example. Now, to make help me send a very personalized campaign to Harsh saying that, hey Hans, you are doing you are into surgery, you are into the industry for last 10 years, and we are running a campaign, we would love to host you, or something like that. I can send a very personalized message to Hans at the very real time. With the help of AI, I can send a very personalized message to Vignesh that, hey Vignesh, you are an orthopedist, we are running this campaign for you and stuff like that. So AI can help in boosting conversions, right? So along with the depth of it, along sales and all, there are a lot of other things involved, but I'm trying to give you a vision towards the value proposition. So boosting conversion is another value proposition for AI. And fourth is reducing cost. If AI is able to reduce cost for a company, for example, I'm not saying just the human cost, but overall expense, say for to manage a documents which are government tenders. I don't know how many people are aware of government tenders, but for a company to to process a government tender, it used to take 30 days, and it used to take around 5 to 6 team members to do that kind of a work. Now, with the help of AI, we'll show you in the demo, we are able to reduce the cost by reducing the amount of time spent and also the amount of human interactions, right? So that humans can do other works like decision making, higher impact work, and stuff like that. So reduction of cost is another value proposition. Overall, if you would say, increase efficiency is nothing but a combination of all four, right? So efficiency will increase if costs are reduced, conversions are boosted, revenues are increased, or reduction in turnaround time. So these are the key value proposition of where AI needs to be implemented, right? So this was more on the business application front, like how our team also functions. I take care of the business application. Vignesh takes care of the uh, tech application. So Vignesh would be taking over, and he would be next showing you some real life use cases around marketing. Because we have a limitation of time, so we will not try to cover all. We will try to cover marketing, finance, and government projects, right? So these were the few key stages, but AI has an implementation across all sector and all stages of a business. So over to Vignesh. Vignesh can start over with the technical bits of it. I'll stop sharing and yeah.
Udit, just continue just sharing that screen once.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
slide. Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Udit. And firstly, thank you everyone for having us here. As Udit mentioned, the advantages of AI are clearly outlined into five, six areas. Unless and until we are able to provide benefit over there, it's not really economically feasible for a company to adopt it. Now,
Yeah.
when it comes to the implementation of these projects, like automation as a word nowadays is very common and famous, mainly AI automation and AI agents. But as we know that traditional robotic process automations have been existing for a while. These are not things that are totally new. Only the AI integration and the decision making layer after the introduction of LLMs has basically made a difference. So uh, today, since we're talking about AI agents and agentic AI, you will come across this term quite often, which is basically a tool. Now, before the era of AI agents, we would make traditional automations like when you receive an order, your customer gets a message. That's a traditional automation. And the only thing that changes is the variable of the customer name and the order details. Now, imagine that that particular automation was set by us, triggered by us, and it was triggered by a certain event. That is not going to be that is not going to change based on any criteria or condition. But the moment you add a LLM decision making layer on that, the LLM can choose whether to invoke or call that function or to not. That is what we are referring to as a tool today in this example. A tool is nothing but it could be a single API or it could be an entire workflow in itself. And when it comes to AI agents and agentic AI systems, it's nothing but a combination and an orchestration of these tools between multiple agents who are trying to accomplish a certain task. So we're going to be showing you some examples of that. Udit, can you just go to the next
Yeah.
slide once? Yeah. So once you understand what a tool is, like I said, as like an API or a certain scenario, if you connect multiple tools to one agent, it becomes a tool calling agent. It becomes a worker agent. For example, you can say an email inbox manager, an email agent that can read, classify, send mails autonomously on your behalf based on certain data. Now, when you connect this to multiple agents, you have a multi-agent AI system. And we have some examples which we'll show to you, which if time permits, we could show to you today. But to start with, we'll start with the most basic example of a tool. All right. So now I'm going to share my screen. Hi. Is the entire screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, it's
Okay.
visible.
Okay. So the use case that we're going to show today is it's basically the problem statement that we had was for one of our clients, that is a startup incubator. They wanted to extract leads for their companies from LinkedIn, and they wanted to do so for the category of startup founders and investors because they are a startup incubation platform. They wanted to connect with incubators and founders. So what we did is we basically made a solution for them to be able to not just get a list of founders, but also to be able to contact them. So as you can see, this sheet has a tab called keywords. Now, just before I start, let me tell you something. Automation does not really require a fancy front end. We have a couple of products with a good front end. We are going to show that as well. But what I'm trying to say is if you just have Google Sheets and understanding of databases or data structures, you can simply make an automation work very well. So this has been implemented on Google Sheets. Now, As you can see, there's a column called keyword, limit, and country. These are the input fields that the client puts in. And this is an action column, which is by default set to null. And the trigger point is find companies. This could be find people, find posts, anything, any call to action. But in this case, what the process they through which they start is they enter the keyword, set up a limit, and put up a country. Once they click on find companies, what happens is it goes to this sheet. This is the company sheet, which basically extracts the company name, the LinkedIn URL, the company website, and all of its LinkedIn metadata from the company's page, like industry, tagline, description, basically all of the details that you get from the LinkedIn company page. Now, since this is a raw result, so if the user has put 20 as a number or a limit, these people end up getting 20 results for one keyword. Now, maybe out of these 20, I don't really want to dig deep on all of them. I just want to dig deep on two or three of these. The user has a trigger option of clicking approved or reject. If they approve a company, what happens is we do deep scraping on this, and the company gets added to the final filtered list of companies sheet, this sheet. Here, what happens is, along with the company name and the website, we also scrape the company's website. We make a summary of the company itself. We combine that with the LinkedIn description to form an overall understanding of what the company does. We get their employer range, follower count, basically all of these details. And then they have a trigger of doing two things. First is to find a founder. Second is to enrich their founder's info, which is basically finding their email ID and phone number. Now, this could be a decision maker as well. It may not be a founder all the time. It could be the definition of a decision maker. Maybe for your industry, a decision maker could be the manager of HR or the vice president of, let's say, marketing or purchases in a manufacturing company. So you can define your own decision maker, and you can, basically scrape information of those people. So once they find and enrich the founders, what happens is it goes on to this sheet. This is the leads sheet. Here you get the user's LinkedIn URL, their name, their location, their company and profile details, along with their current position. Like these are for managers and senior managers, and you will also get founders and CEOs and CTOs, along with a list of their email IDs. Now, this is one part of gathering leads by using keyword as a trigger or by using keyword as a search method. So all that the user has to do is enter a keyword and approve a list of companies, and they end up getting a full lead list with all of the email IDs. Now, this is one part of the automation. Another way of getting the same leads is actually through this. Uh, Along with like searching for keywords, we gave them another entry point where they could target leads based on their posts, LinkedIn posts. So let's say I'm a company called EDL Labs, and we are posting a couple of things on our LinkedIn pages, and people are interacting on it. People are liking and commenting and reacting on it. I want to be able to understand who are these people and whether they are even relevant for me or not. And if they are relevant, I want to be able to reach out to them and contact them and maybe nurture them, add them to my CRM, and eventually, reach out to them. So one method was to get to them through keywords, and the other method is to set up these scrapers on your company's page or even your competitor's company page. Let's say you're a small startup and you have a competitor who's big, and you know that the people or the audience who are interacting with them is the same audience that you want to snatch away. You can practically attach or associate a scraper like this to be able to filter out their primary leads and reach out to them. So an example over here is we have taken our client Sanchi Connect as an example. If I click on this particular post, what you'll see is their raw post. This post has, like, it's an invitation for a pitch, one-on-one pitch feedback session for founders, right? And this has some text, some hashtags, some mentions of people, and an image. Now, how do I understand that this person, Ridhima, who says, "Hi, I would love to understand more," is potentially a lead for the client Sanchi Connect, right? But such leads are actually left away and they are left out when you don't reach out to them, but they are all scattered on so many social channels. So What we did is we developed this system for them where they are basically on a daily basis, we are extracting the latest 5, 10, X number of posts that they put out, along with their post data like content and how many likes and how many reactions that they have over here. But additionally, what we're also doing is we are getting their raw content text. We are getting the URLs of the images in the text. We are making image summaries. We are passing it to a vision LLM to understand and decipher what this image is talking about. Then we are combining the content and the image summary to get a full post summary. This is what serves as the context for a AI agent or an AI LLM. For a AI to understand truly what a post means, we like humans can see things very easily and we can differentiate what an image is talking about. But when you're scraping and getting all of this data, you need the model to understand the complete context. Now, along with the post summary, what we do is we scrape for every single post ID, we scrape their reactions. So we know exactly who is reacting on which particular post, what is their name, and what kind of reaction is it? Because LinkedIn has multiple types like, praise, and all of that, right? So you can give different weights to every type of a reaction. Like is probably the lowest weight, but if somebody finds a post thoughtful or insightful, that indicates that he has given the extra effort, he or she has given that extra effort of really praising an article. So you can allocate multiple types of weights to such reactions and try to filter out who are the most probable or the warmest leads that you should reach out to. Now, what we do is once you get this raw LinkedIn URL and reaction of like from all the posts, we also scrape the comments. For this particular post ID, the comment from Ridhima Goel is, "Hi, I would love to understand more." Now, this column, these two columns are the AI output. What you are seeing is AI has the complete post summary, the post context. He has the complete understanding of the comment that has come in along with the URL. It also has the understanding of the number of reactions that it has. And based on that, it makes a intent of what this comment is talking about. And it also gives its reasoning. This is something that you can use to really monitor whether your LLM is hallucinating or is it really following your instructions and your system prompt well or not. And you can accordingly tweak your LLM to kind of get the right output, right? Now, if you combine all of these details into one common sheet, we have used a marketing theory called recency, frequency, and monetary models, RFM models, which basically helps you identify who are your most recent interacting leads, who are the most frequent ones, and who has the highest monetary value. A combination of this can help you get the most filtered and the best set of leads. So coming to the RFM sheet, all the previous sheets that you saw were actually nothing but kind of logs of things happening. But over here, everything is currently combined where we have the LinkedIn URL of a person, his or her profile type, because even a company could comment, their name, and their total aggregated reactions across all your posts. This is dynamic, so it keeps on updating with more number of people who are interacting with your posts. From their LinkedIn URL, we are scraping their URL to make a profile summary. So I want to know who this person is. All of this is happening on autopilot, kind of pre-sales intelligence, you can say. And we also have their company name and their tagline. Now, since we have built it for Sanchi Connect, Nirmal Singh is most probably an employee of Sanchi Connect because the company name says the same, right? So now we don't need to dig deeper on this person. I would rather identify a person who's not from that company as a lead. So the model creates a user persona only of these unique leads and avoids the people who are actually belonging to the same company. So we have their first interaction, we have their last interaction, we have their reaction counts and comments, and based on that, we make a complete user profile, which is also auto updating because the moment the interaction changes, these values will change. The first interaction will always be fixed, but these numbers will change. Now, Vishwa Patel is a student from this particular college. Total number of reactions are 2. The RFM analysis is that he is recent but low frequency. And the next steps that the agent is suggesting is to add them to the nurture list, but don't directly contact them. Now, this is more like a sales flow step being suggested autonomously by an AI based on your sheet and your customer data, your lead data, and the number of reactions that they have. And accordingly, it's also allocating a lead status, it's giving a recommended action and a action reasoning behind it. So, like I've given quite a few examples. So, like before I move ahead, I just want to understand if you guys are following and if you understand the full flow of what is really happening from the input of one keyword and just the input of one company post URL. You're able to generate leads and nurture them and enrich their contact information on autopilot. That's practically the output of this, right? If you have any questions, you can put it on the chat, and then we'll move ahead. What you can see right now is basically an example of one LinkedIn agent that is doing multiple tool calls, and that's actually calling different types of tools for different purposes. When it has to track posts, it's calling that particular tool. And these tools are not just an API, but an entire workflow, because it's not just scraping, it's analyzing, it's filtering, and then putting all of it into your CRM or your database, right? So in this case, I'm referring to the tool as a full workflow. So now what happens is the moment you have all of this, we have a CRM, right? Now how a CRM works is like known by all of us. But what we have done is, let's say we have a lead list. These are the names of the people who have identified and the employees who the lead has been allotted to from our end as a company from DDL Labs, let's say. And this is the name of the these are name of the leads along with their email ID. So whatever we scraped in the last two steps, we actually end up pushing it here. Now, this CRM acts like a dynamic queue for your email, WhatsApp reach outs, basically. If you see, the lead list is mentioned over here, the email attachment has also been mentioned over here. All that a person has to do is approve the lead. As long as the lead is approved and not contacted, what the AI does is it checks their active category, it checks their subcategory, and it checks their current email campaign stage, which you can define custom. And according to that, it goes to the email funnel sheet where we have basically made multiple templates and we have given it a campaign ID. So dynamically, it picks up that particular template, it generates the subject, it generates the body, and it also has a wait time. So just like we use a MailChimp or any email automation tool, when we send across an email, we add a wait time for him or her to reply. And if the mail doesn't come, if the reply doesn't come, then you take successive actions, right? We have implemented the same thing just using Google Sheets, right? And some automation scripts. So what is practically happening is this is our internal CRM where the email templates and communication has been fixed on this particular sheet. The lead list has been fixed on this particular sheet, and the AI can simply come, check the people who have been approved but not yet contacted, check their last email campaign ID which was sent, and the next campaign ID which it needs to send. Accordingly, based on the campaign ID, it picks up the template email number 8 from here, and it checks which category does it have to be from, let's say product demo. And accordingly, it picks up your subject and body and pushes it forward. So this similar thing can be adopted to, managing your calendars on autopilot, managing communication on WhatsApp or Slack. What you can see right now is an example of an email, but the communication layer is nothing but it's a layer of communication tools, right? You can like receive messages and send messages via any channel. So like this is a small example of one of the examples in the marketing space that we have done, but imagine that this is implemented not just for LinkedIn but also for Instagram, Reddit, Substack, Medium. You can basically set up social listening automations for yourself and for your company so that you get to know what the market is talking about for you, about you, and you can do the same thing for your competitors. So you can derive intelligence on autopilot using like many automations. These are a couple of examples. And yeah, I mean, this is one of the solutions that we have implemented. So before I move on to like finance, do you have any questions, anything that you would want to ask?
How many guys of you guys are aware of AI automation? What capex cost for setting up
I
agentic
think we
AI
have a
system?
question
Yeah.
chat by through.
What?
Cost for
Let me
setting
read
up
the
an agentic
question.
AI system capable of agentic AI system capable of image recognition with scraping and using multiple skills at the same time. How can a startup with no external funding acquire this?
Okay.
Vignesh, you want to
Uh,
take this?
yeah, yeah. So firstly, the thing with AI is when you're setting it up as a developer, if you just want to start off, uh, there is more of a monthly LLM token fee and some fee for the infrastructure that you would put up. You can either use third-party market tools for a small subscription fee to be able to do this, or if you set up your own scrapers, if you write your own scrapers in Python on like Beautiful Soup or whatever, you'll have to eventually host it on your server. But when it comes to scraping, please remember that we are not scraping at bulk. We are following and like keeping the limits of the social media platforms. So even LinkedIn or Instagram or Reddit, they have some designated limits. And as long as you are scraping within those limits, you are still safe. Otherwise, you end up getting blocked. Also, like this is not something that you would scrape on day one. Like you can't just blast scrape 5,000 people, 10,000 people and not expect your account to be blocked. Instead, it's something that you have to keep on running as a scheduled job on a cron job regularly. Now, there are many tools available, both code and no code tools available for you to be able to do this. However, more than capex, if you remove the infrastructure side, the infrastructure is capex. It can be your own server or like hardware or like rented VPS online. That is one infrastructure cost, but the main thing is the tool costs, the LLM fee. You will have to keep a budget of at least a few thousand rupees a month to run inference on LLMs. Of course, there are open source LLMs available, but again, those open source LLMs will have to be hosted with a rented GPU online, or you'll have to have a damn good laptop to be able to run it locally. But I mean, in both cases, it's expensive. So yeah, uh, I mean, don't think of it like setting up an agentic AI system on day one, because agentic AI systems cannot be set up in like one shot. You have to make one AI agent with like 4 5 tools, and then you have to make 10 such agents. And then when you communicate amongst them and share a common memory, that itself becomes an agentic AI system. It's not something that you can start making on day one. You have to like eventually start making tools, automations, and then putting it under agents and then orchestrating multiple agents through frameworks. So it's like that.
Plus, more of that, like instead of the capex cost, if you really ask from that perspective, that comes a layer later, is what Vignesh is trying to say. How can a startup with no external funding acquire this? Again, for a startup, since I said like we are into a we are in India, right? So Dhruv, for us to even I am not externally funded, honestly, and we are right now pretty much close to our break even, okay, over the period of time without even having an external funding. The thought is to make solutions in a way that the businesses are able to acquire your solution. So if you would forget about everything, all these tech world, ek baar ke liye let's go. I don't know if you know about Chandni Market and Chandni Chowk in Delhi or Chandni in Bada in Kolkata. These kind of market, even in Guwahati, I'm sure there must be a local market. The local markets are able to sustain over the period of time, right? Like if I look at our father who are doing businesses or our cousin, chacha, chachi, all of those people, right? The good part is like if we understand their business model, they are have from day one अगर ₹1 का कुछ बेचा तो 50 पैसा कमाया है. And that's how businesses have been fundamentally working, right? So instead of working in a way कि मेरे को external funding मिलेगा and मैं कुछ बनाऊंगा and then market will adapt, then I mean these are modern day, I would say a trap. Trust me, these are all modern day traps. Instead of going that direction, you should, like when I talked about the three pillars, make a product that is viable for your for the people to adapt. So if you have, say, you have got a funding of say 1 crore also, and if you have adapted a technology, say image recognition, which is taking say 100 credits or 10 credits, 20 credits just to process one image. So the real market, or when you are trying to sell it at scale, right, people will not adapt to your product. So even if you are funded, even if you have capitally, able to acquire that technology, but the moment you go to a business, the business will not acquire your product, and eventually you will fail, right? So the goal is not about, think, go ground, go a deep, level deep. Think that I have to build a solution where I'm not funded, एंड द काइंड ऑफ सोल्यूशन शुड बी कि आज हम वो बना के अगर बगल की दुकान में जाके भी बेचे तो वो तुरंत खरीद ले और वो इकोनॉमिकली उसके लिए फीजेबल हो. देन इज द ओनली टाइम यू आर एबल टू डू दिस काइंड ऑफ adaptation. So again, coming back to your question, what is the cap's cost? The cost can vary depending on your model. If you are using say OpenAI, Gemini, Claude, Opus, all of these are pretty much there, and you are building the system, you can spend like as money as you want. But when you are thinking from an economically sustainable point of view, you have to think like in when I'm building, if you as a startup, say, forget about anything else, if you are able to use it for yourself at a viable cost, that means your other business will also be able to adapt the same technology at the viable cost. So we are not sure कि हमें funding कब मिलेगा, and we cannot sit as an entrepreneur. If you are doing entrepreneurship, you cannot sit कि जिस दिन मेरे को funding मिलेगा उस दिन मैं adapt करूंगा, right? So फंडिंग का नहीं वेट करके वी हैव टू स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग एंड स्टार्ट डूइंग. आई एम अ बिग you know adapter of open source communities. I'm on their side. So try to use these open source models. You are right now in IIT Guwahati, you have the privilege to use the IIT's infrastructure. So try to use their infrastructure, host these models within your ecosystem, try to partner with your PhD people and other such data labs and stuff like that, and try to adapt these technologies in a manner that it is not able to cost you much, right? So these kind of adaptation, and the once you are able to crack the economics for yourself instead of going for the funding, you would be able to get it better, right? So yeah, I have this which is relatively experienced. It can barely run 8 billion parameter model which does basic text conversions. Correct.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
So Vignesh, if you want to take this, and then I can talk about the business front. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're running inference on a 24 GB card. So anyway, approximately 15 to 16 GB is being taken up by your LLM, because if you have 8 billion model, you can multiply that by 1.7 to 1.8 to get the average GPU consumption. So 15, 16 GB is gone over there, and then the amount of memory which you need to keep your laptop running is another 2, 3 GB along with the OS. So it's anyway running tight. I mean, you can run it at good speed if you're probably running a 5 billion, 4 billion model like a Gamma 4 or something. And also the choice of the LLM downloader that you're using, that also makes a difference. I mean, try to avoid LM Studio or Olama and stuff like that. Try llama.cpp, or in case of MacBooks, you can try OMLX. They try to give you the maximum performance on a local system. But like beyond that, honestly, there are some very good plans given by these providers. GoDaddy and Hostinger and all of that, that can give you like a shared GPU, but you can run like small inference models over there. And even like Amazon gives you a healthy 1 year free tier for its EC2 instance, where you can probably
Yeah.
rent some GPU and run it over there, because locally it's going to be expensive. Like you
Yeah. If
need
you are
like
hosting it in your yeah, in your system, it's always gonna be expensive. Rather go for all these, like Vignesh is saying, shared server cloud deploy or there. You can pretty much do at half the cost, right? So
Yeah.
and plus you can do much more experimentations as well. So instead of doing ground up, again, if your colleges or if your universities or IITs, I don't know how they are functioning right now, but like if you guys are having that kind of a GPU infrastructure, then use that, because one is not enough. Again, you need like at least 10 15 of such. If you guys do not have that kind of an infrastructure, probably use cloud resources, host it there. Since you guys are student, you can utilize your student cards, and they have much more better discounting there, and that's where you go for experimentation. It works better, right? So yeah. So
Yeah.
again, coming back to the, I think this entire what Vignesh has explained in this marketing, what the
Yeah.
automation, where from, again, from a business application point of view, lead generation, lead enrichment, communication. This is email. It can be any, but understanding where it is not about just building the workflow, but it is actually going into the technicalities of it. Vignesh showed you the RFM model, which is recency frequency monitoring, which is like a fundamental MBA marketing theory, right? So here it's not about just building the workflow, but actually understanding the right, fundamentally right models of creating a lead persona, and based on the lead persona, the right methodologies to communicate. And connecting, RFM model is a statistical model, right? So you are integrating a statistical model with AI, so it can do a very specialized task, that is marketing segmentation. So these kind of domain interaction and giving that kind of a domain knowledge to your AI is very important, rather than just building an automation that, scrape this and automate, send this. Anyone can do it, right? But not understanding the right statistics behind that and adding the right parameters and right statistical modeling behind your AI would give you an edge case over here. So that's most important. Again, even if you're looking at even any kind of an automation.
We have a
Coming back to
question.
Bharat's question, yeah,
We have a
I
question.
Yeah.
heard Oracle gives free cloud server. Do you know anything about it? Because like a startup point of view, also it's a feasible thing. I mean, I don't know about if they are doing this free cloud server or not. If they are doing, it's great. Utilize that. I mean, honestly, we right now, because we are at a startup level now. I'll just be very honest. Anything free doesn't work for a company like us, because we will. It works well with the experimentation level, but when we are actually deploying it for a client, the data parameters are so huge that we eventually burn all the free tires. So we as a company, when you are really working into the businesses and you're starting to work on a monetary level, experimentation level can happen at free. That's good. Utilize that free level. Learn your automations, build your solutions on the free tire usage. Once that has been done, take it when you're taking over to the production level, you are deploying it for the clients or working for the businesses. In that cases, you anyway, these infrastructures are built in a way manner that the moment you go into the production level, you have to spend money. That's how these people are smart enough to understand these tire level. No one is doing for free. Eventually everyone is making businesses, everyone is making money. That we need to understand, right? So if they
Yeah.
are
And
using,
it
again,
can,
Bharat, use, yeah.
yeah, and like he said, it can be a part of your like pricing also. Like you are eventually recovering all of this from your client only to give them the like
Yeah,
state of the art infrastructure, right? Of course, Azure or Oracle has like a good uptime and great quality. So you can charge your clients based on that. But like for the MVP, like Udit said, you can make multiple accounts. You can have accounts to understand the MVP, test it out, make some demos. Until that point, it's fine. But really, anything production grade will require you to upgrade. And like the moment you get serious in business, like it's going to ask you to upgrade, and that's eventually going to come back to you from your clients only. So
and actually I'll tell you a very good story, because you guys are all students. I very happy, glad that you guys are working. I'll just tell you how our story started. We utilized all the free servers and free clouds and free tools across the world. We built our MVPs. We took our scooty. We started approaching the market. We still today, both of us travel in scooty with two helmet. Go there, we show our MVP कि देखिए ये बनाए हैं, क्या आपको ऐसा कुछ चाहिए क्या? Then the market tells us कि हमें ये type के automations, we need to do this and that, and then we tell them, okay, this is the pricing. You give us at least 20%, 15% of the market, मतलब पैसा, हम उनके पैसे से ही मार्केट जो हमारे को टूल्स चाहिए होता है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिए होता है, वी बाय दैट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर and then we deploy the production grade and deploy it to them. So we are instead of asking for funding, we are actually taking these MVPs that we have deployed using these free ecosystem. We take it to the market, we ask the market the money कि इतना पैसा लगेगा, because we can calculate. That calculation will again happen when you are into the on मतलब zone trying to do these free tools, and we can check the logs. Out of the logs you can calculate the input and output credits, whatever is there, and you can come up with a final key for one execution. This is the total cost. That cost that you can give to your client, if they are executing 100 or 10,000 or 20,000, whatever number of executions, you can say this is how much it will cost you. You give me this much money, I will deploy the, I mean, that's first level deployment, first deployment, and these kind of you can do and work like that. So as a startup, that's how we have started it, and pretty much the market has divined. Like the Vignesh that is showing you the solution, we never build the solution for ourselves. We actually ask the client, what kind of solution are you looking at? I am able to automate marketing, right? So client, the let again, the bigger story is the market will define you rather than you changing the market. If you go and change the market, we all are not Mark Zuckerberg, right? So we have to be, we're not lucky enough. If we would have been lucky enough, probably I would have been listening to your webinar and not vice versa, right? So we all have to think that we are not unlucky. We are all unlucky people, trying to find our spot in the world of business and trying to make a stand for ourselves. That's pretty much, whether in a monetary way or whether in any other ways, for making an impact to the world or whatever be your personal goals. To do that, we have to let understand how market is functioning. Let the market tell you that these kind of solution are they looking for, and then you go and build a solution that is a better integration and a much more safer way to become a successful entrepreneur, right? What happens is people build their product, and then when they take it to the market, they are always in that zone, which happened to me in my first startup. Actually, I thought my product is the best product in the world, and I thought people are all stupid and idiot that they're not adapting it, honestly. But I cannot change the mindset of the people, right? However they are working, I have to understand that my product has to adapt to it. Drinking Coke is not a great thing, right? It is all sugary, but Coke is being sold, reason only being that market wants Coke, right? So that's how we should be all shaping ourselves. Instead of building the product for ourselves and think that our product is the best, let market tell you that these are the solution they are looking for. You build that solution and you deploy, you will be successful 100%. Okay. And it's easier way to do it. It's a safer way to start your entrepreneurship journey. Then you can do whatever building and whatever technical upgrades and stuff like that, you can always do that. So coming back to the topic, I think
Yeah.
uh, we
I think
start
we
moving
can move to the
to the
finance bit.
finance. Yeah, I will show you one more analytical uh, use
Yeah.
case. Yeah.
Just a second. I'll share. Okay. Now, what you can see is basically a different problem statement that we got from one of our clients. They were a CA firm. Now, as you know, a chartered accountant firm deals with a bunch of clients, and they eventually have to manage the accounts of all of these clients every single month, file their GST returns, prepare their GST returns, and even classify their invoices and input it into their accounting software, which could be a Tally or a Zoho or whatever, right? So what we did for them is one of the most simplest solutions, yet the most one of the most effective methods, because we ended up reducing their manual turnaround time from a couple of hours to a few minutes. What we built for them is a simple invoice parser, classifier, and organizer. What I mean by that is a client comes in, like a CA comes in, they add the name of a company on this particular sheet. It's called the client's sheet. They click on this button called create folders. The moment they click on this button called create folders, what happens is a list of folders are created for every single client. As you can see, the name is Lux. These are the folder IDs, and these are multiple folders which are being created along with certain folder names for every single client. So for Lux, there are 104 folders and sheets. For Apple, as an example, there are the same number of sheets. Now, why is this required? So what happened is the client maintains accounts of his clients in separate folders. Each folder is the name of a company. Every folder has one company sheet, which is the master sheet, and two financial year folders, and three other folders being called uncategorized bills, unprocessed bills, and duplicates. Inside each financial year, there are month based folders, and inside each month, there are three subfolders called GST, non GST, and international bills. Now, inside GST, there will be the categorized GST file. Inside non GST, so on and so forth. Right now, what we are doing is we give them this sheet. They help us make this template. The template is the output template in which the client wants a response in. They want the invoice number, the file name, the renamed file name, the invoice date, and all of this. It's a list of like 24 fields that they want as a part of the output. All that they're going to do as a part of the input is they're going to go to a client folder and go to uncategorized bills. They're going to drop a few bills over here, and they want the output to be totally categorized and be there on the final sheet. So what happens is, if you see the master sheet, this is like the control panel or the command center of the client. And there is a definition of categories over here. These categories are nothing but the category of the bills that the client wants the categorization to be in. And this is all dynamic. It's defined by the client. So the client has written GST bill and their rules, non-GST bills and their rules.
Sir,
Yeah.
I would like you to please zoom the screen, like the screen is not visible properly.
Okay.
I think you need to refresh एक बार Vignesh.
Okay. Just a second. Is it visible now?
It's not
It is
visible.
visible, sir,
Yeah,
but
is
can you
it?
please zoom it out? Now you can see.
Okay, now it's visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what you can see in front of you is basically a list of user-defined categories along with their definitions. The user, who's our client, is defining GST bills, non-GST bills, international bills as the category names, and it's also he's also defining the rules. These rules are basically what the LLM reads to be able to classify a given invoice into one of these categories. Now, if you have a different rule, you can define it accordingly. In addition to this, there's also a list of vendors. What are these vendors? Let's say in my company, I'm using Facebook for for ads, and my accountant is classifying that as online advertisement. But for you, you are using Meta like WhatsApp for outreach, or maybe for marketing outreach messages, and your accountant is classifying the bill from Facebook as communication tools or automation tools. It could be different, right? So, since our books of accounts are maintained differently, the same vendor can have a different expense category for a given client. So, what we do is we basically ask the users to fill in the name of the vendor and the associated expense category, and eventually just link the client to it. Which client corresponds with this particular expense category and vendor name. Once you have done all of this, now the AI has complete context and input of being able to categorize. Now what happens is the moment you come and drop a bill over here, every 10 minutes the automation is running. From uncategorized bills, it first checks what the category is, and it first checks which sheet does it need to go to. So we are in the Lux sheet. If you open the Lux sheet, you'll see an entry. Similarly, if I show you the Apple sheet, which is like the Apple column, there's a Apple sheet along with the invoice number, the renamed file name, the invoice date, the financial year, the month, the exact invoice value. And not just that, in case of international bills, like this is the bill of a certain database tool called Neon, and it's a $69 bill. What it does is it also converts it based on that particular day's closing rate. So if the bill was deduct like if the invoice was raised on 2nd of Feb, it knows on 2nd of Feb the closing rate was 91.69 and the amount, which is a foreign amount, US dollar 69. So you'll have to accordingly it will give you the INR equivalent value. Along with that, it gives you your place of supply and all the other invoice fields and metadata. It categorizes your taxable value. It gives you whether it's a GST or a non-GST bill, and it summarizes the line items and gives you a narration. So if I see these bills, the category of these bills are mentioned here. See, expense category software expenses because the bill belongs to Gupshup and Neon. And Neon is an international bill because it was a US dollar bill. And the third bill, which is by Facebook, is also a GST bill. So this categorization of invoice plus expense is being done. Not just that, the file is categorized and put into its parent folder. So if I go here and if I click on this folder, I will see the bill exactly in this international bills folder. This is not organized by us, the automation did it. So inside of February, inside of 2025, 2026, if I go to international, I see this bill. If I go to non-GST, there's none. If I go to GST, there are these two bills. So what's happening is it's not just giving you your categorization, but also like moving the folders, renaming the files in the right format and moving it in the right place into a completely downloadable and reusable format. Right now, if you add one simple button next to it, if I add another column next to it and say push to Zoho Books or approved for Zoho Books, just by flipping that one switch, you can have this invoice entered into Zoho or Tally or QuickBooks or whatever you're using. Just in case the AI is not able to process something, it categorizes it into unprocessed. Like in this case, the image was not clear enough, which is why the AI couldn't get the invoice number. And this is a handwritten image. If I show you this bill, it's a handwritten bill, which is written in Hindi. So it's able to perform OCR on images as well. It just couldn't understand this invoice number, which is why what it did was it put it in the unprocessed sheet. Now, this is super important when you're designing AI automations or systems because these have to have human in the loop interventions. If an AI model cannot do something, you need to give it the space to be able for the human to be able to interrupt and approve it. Now, people can just fill in the missing details and another button on the side which says approved can push it to the right sheet, right? So this is like a small example of how we have automated finance. Of course, you can put a good UI on top of it and like put a database on top of it. But the idea is to be able to show that automation doesn't require a lot of fancy tools, but your understanding of how the data flows from one place to another. And you can implement it pretty much like that, right? Now, Udit, do you want to show the platform?
How much time do we have? Do we
Can you
have
go?
extra?
Yes, like if you can continue.
Yeah. All right. So then we can give you a quick brief about how a difference between a Google Sheet and
A full
the
platform,
real
yeah.
infrastructure. Yeah. But like how instead of going into that Vignesh into domain knowledge, rather give them
Hmm.
an understanding. Let's give them an understanding on the operating system. That how and then the
Ah,
challenges that they face when we are doing vibe coding versus the production grade level. Like not from a backend, but at least from a viewer perspective.
So before
Okay.
that, I think we have a question from through in chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you want to clarify something.
Let me check. Yeah. I think that only thing is written is the screen is invisible. What's the question?
Okay, Dhruv's
Before that,
question
like,
of
so I
Sorry.
would like to clarify my question.
correct, correct. I got it. So I think the intention is correct. A lot of internal processes can be optimized with the use of AI. We also have a few automations which are built for us only because it helps us. However, like I understand that you can't offload that cost onto the client. This is a part of your company's operating expense. And also it gives you the kind of experience to be able to sell forward because I mean, what kind of an AI company is not automated by itself, right? If we as an AI company are driven manually, then we can't even sell that value proposition to others. So the first example or the first test that you can do is on your own self, and that will give you a good understanding of the costs that you are incurring as a company. And then if you multiply the volume of data for your client, you can get an estimate. But of course, your own testing cost may not be directly offloaded to the client, but I mean, that's a business expense, right? We all have to
I
have
would
our
just
research
add a
budgets.
point here, honestly. Uh, just business wise कुछ चीजें ना we have to do manually only. Even if you are, I beg to differ with Vignesh in this for the first time ever. I am differing with him with 30 years of working together overall last 5 years. कुछ काम ना हमें manually करना होगा. When you are doing startup, if you are not funded, you have to do that manually. Even if you are offering agentic AI system, you have to incur a cost to the company, right? So
Yeah.
instead of deploying that cost, even we, I mean, Vignesh was trying to explain more from our agentic, but as a company also, we both do it. We do a lot of work. We can automate entire HR only, but we still have an HR in our team who is calling and updating, setting up our events. We showed you that event email sending, but we still have a person who is helping us with the email sending bits only and communicating and setting up a meeting with our possible interviewers that we want to interview, possible students or employees. Reason being that if I start automating everything, there's a cost. And as a startup, because I'm always in a crunch, I cannot automate everything. Automation cannot happen today. It will happen with time. So your internal business process, if you are doing entrepreneurship, it process will improve with time. So an automation and agentic system is nothing but a replacement of your current manual processes, right? If your process is not defined, what will you automate? And automation and the process is not defined by doing automated things. Process is defined by doing manual things. So as a startup, you have to do the legwork. It doesn't come so easy. You have to do the hard work. You have to sit with the call. You have to do manual emails. You have to do the like, if you want to do image generation, you want to do content creation, write it with your hand. Create that content with your Canva designs, because you will be able to understand your brand better than the AI do. AI can be a layer on top of your current processes, correct? So not, sometimes you have to think that okay, I am doing an automation company, I am an agentic company, but my process can be manual. You only automate those processes. Even Vignesh and we both have only automated those processes that we thought कि we can take it to the client and sell that product. So say अगर तुम लोग अपने लिए कुछ ऑटोमेशन या ऑटोमेटेड सिस्टम बनाया है, वो वही बनाओ जो तुम्हें लगता है कि बेच सकते हो. अगर तुम अपने लिए ऑटोमेट कर रहे हो और जिसको तुम लोग नहीं बेच सकते, उसको बना के टाइम वेस्ट करके खर्चा करके कोई फायदा नहीं है. आई एम बीइंग ruthlessly honest to you. So as a startup, as a thing, forget, your life will be very difficult. If you are doing entrepreneurship, your life will not be easy. Your 4 5 years of hard work is there, no matter who the person is, whether it is a cricketer or whether it is an entrepreneur. If you want to build your own life at your own individual thing, life is gonna be tough. So you have to live with that. You cannot automate everything. You have to work things in a manual process. Only where you see business, only where you see that I will be able to make money out of it, only then go for that automation, or else don't. Okay. So we always very tricky, because anytime the moment you put a cost to a system, your cost will go monthly. Currently, as a company, I am spending more than 3.5 lakhs on a monthly level, apart from my employees. So if I have invested in a system, which is anyway, if I'm not making that revenue, my credit card bills are fixed, right? And all of these tools does not work on your personal debit card. The moment you are buying international tools, all are connected to your debit credit cards. So your cost will be fixed. So instead of incurring that cost as a company, think that way, that it's okay to do manual work, it's okay to put that hard work. I will optimize it probably 6 months later when I have the money in my pocket. Or maybe you get a client, social media you want to automate, don't automate social media, do it manually. When you get your first client who is ready to spend his money on social media automation, while you are deploying social media automation for that client, you are pretty much optimizing it and automating it for yourself, right? Because system is defined. So think, very entrepreneurship is always about thinking on the toes, that how do I make the best out of the value that I have. If you have 1 rupee, how can you make a business out of that 1 rupee only? Instead of incurring that 10 rupees cost and then thinking that after 6 months of time, 1 year down the line, I will be able to recur my 10 rupees, you will never be able to successful. I'm being writing it down for you if you're not funded well. And funding right now, the market is going in such a dip that funding is not easy. It's not 2010 or 2015 when funding was happening at scale. Right now fundings are also happening. If you are thinking of one product, the market has already thought about that product somewhere or the other in the world, right? And already you will find that kind of a company who's funded already. So there is no new idea anymore. Every idea is existing. It's only about distribution. Whoever is able to distribute the idea best wins the race, right? So focus on distribution, focus on building those, using those implementation of AI where you as a company are able to sell it rather than optimizing yourself. If you are thinking to optimize yourself, don't spend that money, do the manual work. I'm telling you, don't waste money. It's a waste of resource. So coming back to the topic, let's go into the operating system, and then we can move to the question answer bits.
Okay. Okay. So before we move into that, the use case here is we were serving a client who, like Udit had mentioned earlier, we were serving a client who had a 30-40 member team, and they would take around a month to be able to process a certain tender and to be able to apply for it. So in order to solve that issue, what we did is we ended up making a complete end-to-end multi-agent system for them, which can not just discover tenders, but also analyze whether the tender is a fit for a given company, and whether, if it is, then it can score that particular tender, it can make reports out of it, and it can also track results of that existing tender. Right now, before we go there, what you see here is a platform where we as DDL Labs are basically having a page called the gallery page, which is like a AI agent and a tool gallery page. Everything that we showed you until now in Google Sheets, they were nothing but basically tools and agents, right? This, think of this page as an app store for AI agents and tools, and companies being able to log in and being able to install certain agents or tools to their organization from by clicking these buttons can basically eventually automate their entire organization for a given function. Now, right now, what you can see in front of you is specific to government tenders, but this could be, like, you can imagine a tool over here which says financial invoice parsing tool. You can imagine a LinkedIn tool over here which says, find leads by keywords or find leads by posts. So eventually this page is supposed to act like a gallery page for multiple agents, and this becomes an operating system for a given company where they are hosting their entire AI infrastructure. So any given company, whenever we have dealt with them, they end up, when once they end up automating one department or one function, they want to do more. They want to explore more and do more for other functions. So instead of making multiple platforms and multiple links and UIs for every company, we made an operating system so that companies are eventually able to choose the function that they want to automate, log in, install that particular agent and tool, and get on with it. This is the overall concept, but for the bit of the demo, what we'll end up showing you is specific to tenders, right? Now, the first thing that you have to do as a company that's applying for tender is to discover tenders. You have to search and find tenders, right? What happens is, as you can see, the the entire website follows a three-pane layout: the left pane, the middle pane, and the right pane. The left pane is nothing but a collection of your tools and agents that are active in your organization, along with your file management system and your task management system. And the right side of every tool is nothing but the input configurations system. So if I have, let's say, three business categories, if I choose marketing as my business category, I have a list of keywords that I want to search government tenders from. I choose these three keywords. I also choose these negative keywords because at the end of the day, the AI is going to filter out titles which contain these negative keywords. And then I also get to choose like the websites which I want to track. These are all government of India and state government websites, along with some PSU websites which release government tenders. So I get to choose these, let's say, three websites. Then I pick up a start date from 11th, let's say, until the end of this month, and I choose the scraping frequency: daily, weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly. If I choose daily, now my task is configured. And as you can see, there is a value over here which says 50 lakhs minimum tender value, and EMD percentage is currently not set. Let's say I set it to 1%. Now, what this basically means is, and I can give it a task name. What this basically means is, from 11th to 31st, every single day, the AI will search these three keywords on these three websites once a day, every day until 31st. And any new tender that comes in eventually falls on this list. This list has four statuses: processing, which is obvious when it's processing; skipped is when the AI has scraped a tender but skipped it. Why? Because it gives you the reason. So for every single given company, the AI decides whether this tender should be skipped or matched or approved. Now, when they skip it, it gives a reason as to why this was skipped. So the client can easily come here and check why a given tender was skipped. Along with this, it also captures a lot of metadata that comes from these government websites, which basically contain all of these tender information, along with the critical dates, the documents, and who it has been issued by. Right? Now, let's say a tender has been matched or approved. What happens is, for the tenders that have been approved, it also gives a reason as to why it was approved. It tells you the business category and the source from which it was picked up. And then it does three things. Those three things are nothing but feasibility, synopsis, and summary. So if I just click on one of these tenders, what you can see is there is a glance tab, which is the AI tab. This is a AI generated summary of the full tender. Now, these tender documents are actually multiple in number. They are generally 5 to 6 tenders per, but there are 5 to 6 documents per tender, and each document could have 1,000 to 1,500 pages. So all of that, which was initially read and learned by the human team, is now currently automated, and the summary is created. Along with this, the user also gets a feasibility scoring. What is a feasibility scoring? Every user sets their own financial and technical criteria. These financial and technical criteria are supposed to tell the agent or the AI what the company is explicitly looking for. So when they set their criteria, the user inputs two things. The question is input by the user, and the expected output is also input by the user. Now, this response that you can see is the answer that the AI found after searching through websites, and it gave a conclusion whether the criteria was met or not met along with the evidence. This evidence is the exact line picked up from the document page, which serves as a citation to be able to prove that this answer is not hallucinated. So, because these are high value tenders and high value documents, sometimes worth 200, 300, 400 crores, we can't afford to give the wrong answer. And the only way to clarify that is if the agent can actually cite its sources. Same goes here. When it comes to the technical criteria, the company has written this question: what is the core nature that the company is interested in? And the company has written this answer. Now, this is AI's answer along with the entire conclusion. This improves something called traceability. It helps you improve your it's not exactly traceability, it actually helps you improve your citation and improve your trust in the like in the AI system that you're providing, because people are very skeptical about what the AI is answering and what it's not. But this is one of the methods you can use in your RAG systems on your AI chatbot systems to be able to give you the evidence. Now, where do they do this? They come to the feasibility scoring tool. This tool, just like I said, is where they see the output and they have this option of setting their inputs. This option is nothing but the user can click on add criteria. User can add a question, add the answer. User can also optimize it with AI and save the criteria. So if I were to show you how this works, let's say I entered what is the minimum value or the estimated cost of this tender, and I've written laser power is interested in, let's say, 10 crores plus. If I optimize this, what happens is the LLM tries to extract meaning from the question that you have given. It tries to rephrase your question and answer into such a way that the AI can query the vector database better. And it also gives you its understanding of the synonyms and its understanding of what not to find when you say this question. This is all editable by the user, but what we have understood is this actually adds a lot of context to the AI agent about a particular industry, which it may or may not have information about. So let's say if I'm saying that what is the minimum value of the tender and the estimated cost or the estimated cost of the tender, I want the AI to respond in a monetary amount manner. I don't want it to give me long sentences or stuff like that. I just want it to give me rupee this much. So I'm guiding the AI with my answer format. I'm telling the AI what we are looking for explicitly. I'm telling the AI synonyms of what this could be in the document. And all of this is actually being uh, made up by the AI when where we are enriching the context. All of this is happening in the backend, where based on like the arrangement, the AI is able to understand, okay, this information could be represented in these versions on the document. And I'm also like the AI also is telling me that, I don't want to be confused with net worth or annual turnover or bid capacity. That's not the same as minimum tender value, because if you have used AI models, you know that they tend to hallucinate a lot and they tend to like miss the core meanings of certain things. So this kind of a context enrichment actually helps, helps you improve the model's response. So what we do is we save these question answers as user criteria. Then the AI picks it up one after the other and answers them and gives you a score. Now, let's say this particular tender has 100% score or 88% score. Then in that case, we make the tender synopsis report. Now, what is a synopsis report? It's like you setting the question paper for the AI to answer. All of these questions are editable and addable. You come here and you write your question and you just set this list of 35 questions. Every tender that comes into the system that has been approved, automatically these reports are generated and everything is downloadable as a PDF doc, CSV or Excel. So name or title of work for this given tender, answer is filled by AI. Tender notice filled by AI. Now what happens is, why did we do all this? This works as a decision sheet for any CXO or management level person. They don't have the time to read 1000 pages, 1500 pages. They only care about these 35, 40 things and the feasibility and the summary. And that's all for them to take a decision. Now, when you are doing this process manually, this would take days for you to reach here. Now, since this is done in minutes, this report itself is enough for them to understand whether it's a go or a no go. Apart from this, let's say you have additional questions which you still want to ask the AI and you are not satisfied, you are very curious, then you have the talk to tender agent. This allows you to chat with any tender in the given system, and you can simply spin up a chat, start messaging it, and it's going to respond back to you along with citations. So let's say I've written what are the contract conditions for the execution of the work. The LLM has responded back to me along with AI suggested questions, and each answer has citations next to it. If you can see these bubbles 1, 2, and 3 written, if I click on this, what happens is it takes me to the exact line of the extracted text from where it has picked up. This really improves your trust. If you're designing RAG systems, if you're designing AI systems that are trustworthy, you need the model to be able to cite its sources, right? And this is what the in-house, are currently the in-house chat of this particular platform provides. So we've tried our best to integrate AI in such a manner that human still controls the oversight, human still has the power to check and verify everything, but AI is doing the dog work and the legwork for you. It's not that everything is happening autonomously and the human has no control or no idea. At every single step, he or she can check. And if you want to see how many files this thing is querying, it's actually talking to you across these files. 4 notices, 1 Excel file, and 2 more PDF files. That's 7 files, right? So for every tender, it isolates these files and you're able to chat with it. And along with all of this, let's say you have applied for a tender, you eventually want to track your tender results. So you can track your tender results and you can also see who won the result, what was it worth, what is the name of the awardee, and what was his position. So it's a full ecosystem which basically helps you understand exactly what you're looking for. It helps you understand, filter out leads, get their data, and you can do all of your tender related stuff currently in this platform here itself. But imagine we add LinkedIn to it, we add finance to it, just the way we showed you the automations. This eventually ends up becoming a complete AI platform management solution for you, where you as a company can simply log in, set up your automations and agents, and let them work for you on your behalf. So that's the overall picture.
Yeah, I'll just take over from here on, and then we can move to the last bits. Let's go to the conclusion now. Um,
Yeah.
so, like since Vignesh has showed you pretty much like all the technical bits of how we come, our main focus of this entire in-depth of business application is to help you guys visualize that how businesses in today's world are adapting AI on a business use cases, right? There are a lot of technical upgrades are happening. You see a lot of models, a lot of new kinds of methods, GPUs, TPUs. There are a lot of different ways of things are happening from a technical point of view. But from a business application point of view, all the businesses that they care about is input and output. All those non-technical companies, right? So like what Vignesh has said, in our operating system, that's how businesses are looking. They don't care about what AI we are using. They don't care about what kind of methods are being used. They care about like what if I am say this is my requirement, how is what is the output and what is the cost behind it, right? Of course there comes another layer which I would want to add a point here, is apart from just the cost, there is another important question is security. So these two are the main fundamental when we are implementing AI. These two are the main fundamental blocks apart from just the application bits, input and output. So I'll come to the input first, and then we can go into the app security bits. Vignesh can obviously add the technical part of it, but I'm sure you guys must have heard about this news that Microsoft and has pretty much exceeded its current AI budget in just 3-4 months. Same with Uber, right? These were few of the news that were very famous back in February this year only. So if you would notice, like in today's world, when you're using ChatGPT, you don't really aware of how much input token are you consuming when you are using thinking model for say or state of the art models. But there is an input and output cost to it, right? So if I am using a company's infrastructure and if I am using a top model, best model just to do a very simple email drafting, then the value is not created based on the token that the AI is creating, is using, consuming. So having to understand the right economics, when we say economics or sustainability of your product, viability of your product, from an economical point of view, it's very important to understand these two concepts. One is token maxing, one is value maxing. So how much token are you spending versus what is the value that is being generated is a question that both businesses ask themselves. And if you guys are the product developers, if you are entrepreneurs and creating your own product, you also need to understand that how much token r is your solution consuming, and what is the value that your client or customer is benefited from that. So few of the questions we also discussed about that point, like, not everything needs to be automated, right? So when not to automate is also very important, where not to use AI. For example, drafting an email, it doesn't need an AI. We all are capable to write good English. We are all capable to write a good draft email. So when you are doing such kind of small activity, you don't really need it, right? You can all go to LinkedIn and see that what people have posted. If you are not using everything at scale, you can use it at a very simple level to just go and do it yourself, right? So where not to automate is very important, again, to understand that what kind of task, for example, email drafting only, let's, because we have taken that example, that can be done at a very smaller level or model, right? So we have to understand that which task needs small models, which task needs premium model. For example, in a tender product, when you are doing evaluation of engineering drawings, these kind of, or say uh, uh, tabular data of the kind of procurement government needs, these kind of calculation, which is called BOQ, these, to calculate those competitor analysis, to do RFM modeling, to do these kind of complex engineering drawing and analysis, these kind of things needs a premium model. Drafting an email or just asking summarize a LinkedIn profile, reaching out to them can be done at a smaller level, right? So to measure a right ROI, every task, every automation, every agent has its own ROI, which we discussed in the value proposition. But to calculate this value proposition, understanding the theory behind token maxing and value maxing, it would be an important factor, which I would request you guys to, after this webinar or whenever you get time, read about these concepts. This would be a very valuable concept to help you measure return on investments. Uh, I'll come to the next bit, the final bits of it, where another big question that is asked by companies when we are implementing AI, that security and privacy. Everyone is now more aware about privacy, which was not 5 years back. It was not a big question. Everyone was still putting their data on Google, but they thought like it's Google. Now, even when they are deploying using Google, they are saying that, okay, is my data secured or not, right? So that comes with system design. So having a right system design is also very important from a governance point of view. Like, for example, minimum access. Say I am working in HR, right? Or Hans is working with event management. Just taking an example. So Hans should be only aware of event management data, right? Um, Someone who is working with say operations does not need access of financial informations, right? So these kind of, in understanding that which people within your company needs what kind of access to what kind of data is very important. So minimizing access is one such principle. Another such principle is rule based escalations. For example, having to understand that, say you have a list of data now, say all of a sudden my AI system detects that raat ko 3 baje someone has downloaded uh, a set of employees that are working within a company. Now this can be someone which is out of the box, right? Someone downloading a human your HR list at 3 o'clock at night. This kind should be escalated to an HR, for example. So rule based escalation, understanding, giving AI an understanding that what, where to escalate what kind of data to what human, is also a very important principle of data governance. Right now we are putting all information, Udit Sharma email ID, phone number, into my GPT and saying now draft a WhatsApp message, right? this kind of information, putting it directly into the AI is very dangerous, right? Imagine when I'm putting my financial data into my and asking it to create a report, financial report from my last year's balance sheet. I mean, that's definitely not something anyone should be doing. We can do it at a personal level, but not at a government. I can't. I mean, in terms of governance layer, right? When you are saying Lux or Imami or such kind of clients, um, putting their financial data. So data masking is another such principle of data governance. Fourth is audit trail. As the name suggests, having a log of your entire system wherever the AI is working. In our system, you must have seen we have a task manager, which is nothing but managing and logging all the tasks that is performed by AI. So audit log is your fourth principle, and the fifth principle, which is very important right now. I don't know if you guys are aware of DPDP Act, but according to DPDP Act, we need to have our own deploy our AI in Indian demographic areas only. So when you are deploying using Azure, it needs to be deployed in the uh, inside your demographics within your India's geographic locations. So having a sovereign ecosystem is another principle where we are able to secure the datas. So now a lot of people have come to a question that is AI secure or not. There is a two different way of seeing things. For if I someone ask एक बार के लिए if I'm stop sharing and I'll just explain without with just AI. आज के टाइम पे मैं मेट्रो में बैठा हूँ. I've seen this video a few days back. I was very disturbed that two couples were sitting in a metro and a video of them getting cozy got leaked. So that leak was not done by AI, right? That leak was done by a human who's sitting at the security office checking these metro station videos and leaking that, right? So, but when we are using AI, we can trust AI because AI works on rule-based system. You can tell AI that anytime a video is getting recorded, always mask the face. But when human is there, he have a emotional biasness towards looking that data set. So that time they can very remove that kind of content and push it to some other channels and stuff like that. But AI will never do such kind of biasness. So there is a two way of looking. Say when I am working as an employee, I can download a set of data at any random given point of time. I can download any set of data, my financial records, or even when I'm leaving a company, there are a lot of news that comes in that when a person is leaving the company, they download the entire company's ecosystem and leaves the company, right? But when an AI is functioning, AI will not, because AI is driven by rules, it will never do such a mistake that it will like randomly download all the data of the entire infrastructure and process it and misplace the data, right? So human comes with biasness. With AI, your biasness is reduced. So there is always a two-way things of having a vision. So when someone is asking, is your data, can you trust AI? You can always have a debate. Can you trust human? Right. So there's always these two thoughts. How we place our governance, how we place our policy is very important, and that policy is defined by your system design. And these are like the five principles that I shared. Of course, there are other technical ways of doing it, but these are like few principles globally people are adapting to and working towards. Now I'll again go back to the slide and try to end. Uh, I don't know if this video would be played, but this was a video that is by we all know it. So he is talking about the AI economics. AI economics is a five-layer cake. I always try to put this thought forward that whatever is working, it is working at a energy level is your bottom layer infrastructure, which is like power. Without power, we can't deploy data centers. So data center and infrastructure is your second bottom. If you are moving from bottom to top, so it would be second layer cake. Your third layer cake is your chips, which is we all know GPUs and all. Our second layer cake is our model, and top layer cake is our application. So as a country, because you guys are all young, and we have been working together. It's very important that you guys come in sync with all of us towards one thought, that right now, if you see India's ecosystem, as a country, we only have 38,000 GPUs and 1,000 TPUs. When I compare it with US, they have one company, OpenAI, have more than 5 lakh GPUs. So the difference is immense, right? And whatever India is doing, India is only working on the application layer. If I talk about, like I said, if my screen is visible, we are only here. But what the globally companies are there in terms of US, China, if you talk about those countries, they are working at these layers, right? Compute layer. They are working at the data center layer. They are working at the model layer. Governments are working at energy layer. But as an India, we are just using their sources, their computations. We are using their infrastructure. We are using pretty much their energy to define, and only at the top of the cake, right? And this way our country will never grow. We will always be dependent on US, we'll always be dependent on China. You guys are young. I would want to put this thought that instead of just focusing on the application layer, you guys are from IITs. I'm sure you guys have the enough resources. Even if we are do not have those resources, I have heard a lot of engineers saying कि you go to Stanford, you go to US, you go to UK, उनके engineering colleges देखो और हमारे ही colleges देखो, there is a difference. यार डिफरेंस हमेशा ही रहने वाला है, कभी भी ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग उनको पार कर पाएंगे. बट जितना है, इंडिया एक चीज़ है कि जुगाड़ पे चलता है, दैट इज समथिंग वी शुड ऑल बी यूजिंग. एंड वी शुड स्टार्ट फोकसिंग ऑन वर्किंग ऑन AI मॉडल लेयर, compute layer. Obviously this data center energy is beyond us, but what is within our reach is computation and AI model, right? So India as a country can build its own AI layer models instead of focusing on open using open AI. Like if you had heard the news, China has developed Gwen. I think Gwen was the model that was developed on CPU, right, Vignesh, if I'm not wrong?
No, not CPU, but they have model distillation of the bigger models, but like the Quen models, the Moonshot, Kimi models,
Yeah.
they're all like distilled models of these frontier models, but at least they are independent,
Yeah.
self
What happened
independent.
with
Yeah.
them is like China did not had did not had access to the GPUs provided by the US.
Hmm.
So what they did is they went to their college and universities and started doing research, and they started building models at a lower computation power with things like that, right? With so if they can do it, we are sure we can do it as well. It's all about opening our mindset, right? So coming back to the topic, as a country, if you are looking at building a real impact, not just focus on application, but focus on India's ecosystem, building your own AI stack. Let's build as a country, let's build our own AI models. As a country, let's work on the computation. And with IITs as a opportunity, you can definitely use it. Why I'm saying this? Because you must have heard recently Trump has said that all the model that is deployed by the US has to go through the government of it has to go through the US government, all the models that are deployed in US. Now imagine that your data is going to the US government, and they can sanction a law saying कि next time say ना 10% increase कर दो इसके pricing पे. What will a country like us do? We have to pay that 10% to them. It's like they are ruling us. So to make India really great, we should work on sovereignty, sovereign AI, read about sovereign AI, and let's build our own AI models, and let's build our own AI ecosystem. You guys have an opportunity to research, connect with your PhD people, connect with the rest of the world. If you need any support, we are always there for you. We can always connect after this webinar and work towards the same field. So with that note, uh, I hope you guys had a opportunity to learn from security policy, token maxing, and also going back, we did the application front. So we tried to show you the entire vision, and we also tried to show you where the India is shaping. We tried to also show you the application where businesses are adapting AI. So thank you for having us. As a company, we are pretty much we have done it with IISCR, NASCOM, Sachi Connect, and all. But this session was really insightful for not. I hope this session was really insightful for you guys. And having to be doing this with students is always a good feeling. So thank you.
So I think we have another question by through
Yeah.
in chat.
How to tackle issues of accountability in case of damage by false positives. Let's take an example during AI powered handling of internal data. Also during automated, I have struggled to convince my paid GPT model to source trust and verified research papers and contact info for my project work. Okay. Accountability in the case of damage. Vignesh, you want to take this? Or I really want Dhruv, if you can help me a little understanding of this question when it says that verified research paper and source trust. Like, can you help me explain so that we can also take it forward?
I'll just answer the first part of it, and you can meanwhile type the explanation. When it comes to the accountability of tackling damage in case of false positives, see, the first thing is we never make the wrong promise while we are delivering it to clients. If you use any LLM tool, it clearly highlights a risk at the bottom which says ChatGPT or Gemini can make mistakes and all of that, right? These LLMs themselves, if you check their benchmark, they are not 100%. They are close to 80 to 90%. And when we deploy a solution, we don't just go into production on day one. We make the MVP, we run it through a user acquired testing phase where they use it for 2, 3 months and they come up with mistakes. They see the mistakes themselves and we keep on fixing it on our end. And we always make them aware of the critical steps where we involve human in the loop. If you think that making one extra comma can cost you 1 crore, add a human over there. At least as of today, no matter if you're using Mythos 5 or the Mythos 50, add a human over there, right? It's we are not outsourcing our thinking. The strategy and the thinking part is still human led. AI is kind of a junior guy working at extremely high speed for you and following your instructions. Think of it like that. Don't think of the AI as uh, superhuman to whom you're going for every single answer. So you have to tune it like that, and you have to keep your clients aware that these models are getting better with time, but it requires reinforcement learning, it requires retraining, and that can only happen when you have the logs of the right and the wrong part. Now, yeah, the second part, so even if you provide it is a security, so you can sometimes falsely approve the wrong thing as the right thing. That's a false positive. So if an AI system is
I think
yeah, that,
accessibility
so
and hallucination and
yeah, see, it can technically false out of 100 runs, maybe 98 runs are perfect and 2 runs you have this issue. So that is why, see, if you know the process in and out, you know the most important checkpoints. No matter where the AI is working autonomously, if there are some important checkpoints, you make it halt over there and make it wait for human input. Then it's like a combined AI plus human error, which can also happen. But generally, in designing stable systems and reliable systems, it's always a combination. That's why Microsoft is calling it a co-pilot and not like the chief pilot or captain, right? We are the captains, and on our ship, that's the co-pilot. So you have to like approach it like that all the time.
also, are you using
uh,
MCP? Okay, we were discussing about MCP having access to these kind of things and then they can hallucinate. So just to
yeah, that
understand,
also, yeah, that,
so
that
if you
that
are
also,
using an MCP system, that can also be defined rather like to add. Vignesh can just to add like Vignesh, please continue with this. But I just want to say, कि अगर if you are, it has to be deterministic flow is something which is always secured. So even if you're using AI, always go with a deterministic flow rather than just giving AI an entire thing कि जो भी करना है करते रहो. I have given a prompt and you manage the rest. So that way it won't work. Having a deterministic, very guided format कि यही करना है is a better way of approaching this kind of bloating and deletion of data. Like MCP server, we were discussing yesterday only that
yeah,
why we are not using MCP within our ecosystem is like because if I am giving MCP, it has a list of things and it also have create a post, delete a post. So the moment we do not know, okay, all of a sudden the MCP calls delete a post. So I was trying to create a post and it deleted it, right? So giving that
Yeah.
access is not even important.
Okay, yeah. So if as a company you're using the AI service and you have this problem, who will be held accountable? Of course, if it's a design issue or if it's a core system flaw, it's our fault. But the risk of LLMs hallucinating and the risk of LLMs making mistake is something even Anthropic has not been able to solve yet. Anybody who's adopting an AI system or has even used AI remotely knows that it makes mistake, but the next time you say like put a prompt in, it changes, like, right? So that's just the industry, and that's just how it is. Either you wait for like the next 5 years till AI is super perfect, or if you're adopting something which is new and changing every 2 months, these are the kind of things that comes along with it. That's why phased and gradual implementation is more important than like full scale company automation, right? Because the even the client needs to know the edge cases and the problems of these models, right? So
Yeah.
it's a journey. It's not something you just go deploy and like come back. It's happening throughout.
All right. All right, guys. I think we are pretty much there. If there's any question, feel free. Dhruv, it was nice that you asked so many questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the web scraping part is ready. You've not been able to convince your paid GPT model to source trusted and verified sources. The thing is, um, it's not something that's done with a prompt. When the citations and everything that you saw on the website and the evidence that you saw on the website, it's not just a prompt through which it's happening. There's a lot of RAG involved in this retrieval augmented generation, where you have to correctly search the right chunk, give the chunk to the LLM, mark the chunks with the right ID, and only then it is able to cite the
Yeah.
citations. It's not something you can just simply like prompt it to say and it does it.
So I
Yeah, I mean,
specific.
if uh,
Yeah.
see, the thing is, the chat GPT that you're using on the front end while chatting with it through one like app window is the final product chat GPT given by OpenAI. So when you tell it to do this, no matter how much we prompt, it only has access to what the training knowledge, whatever training knowledge he has, and the tools that they have. So when you ask chat GPT on the front end to do web research, it will try to search for the list of websites that it has. But when you are deploying it as an API in your application, you have the full control. You have to set up a scraper on MDPI papers website and like scan them and download them and then feed it to GPT. It's like a pipeline that you're making. If you just prompt it and expect it to give it back to you, that's like it doesn't work like that. Like on the API level, you are the one who's designing the LLM, the memory of the LLM, the tools, the scraping, everything, and then it works.
Dhruv, definitely let's connect more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Hans, thank you for having us. I hope. I think कुछ connection problem होगा. Whatever weird.
Hmm.
ठीक है. Sounds good. I think we'll just close it off from here, and then we'll see you soon.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for having
Yeah.
us, and I
Yeah.
hope you got some value.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay.
And I think